Hello, today's lesson is going to be about setting up a vendor, entering the bills for that vendor, and paying that bill. The first thing you're going to want to do is go to the home page, which you see here. There's going to be 3 ways that you can get to the vendor center to go ahead and set up that vendor. One way is going to the toolbar and seeing vendor. Select vendor center. You can also click here on the help toolbar and hit vendor center, or you can go on the home page or the home view and hit vendors here. For the sake of the argument, we're going to go ahead and just select vendors in the toolbar and hit vendor center. And it's going to give us a list of the vendors that we currently have. If you're just now setting up your first vendor, this area right here should show empty. The first thing we're going to do is hit new vendor. Now, if you have 2011 QuickBooks or newer, you can actually set up more than one vendor at a time. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're just going to add the one vendor. Now in here, you're going to want to put in your vendor name. So for my tutorial, I'm going to select ABC Inc. Now, when did you want to do an opening balance? You don't have to fill this out, but you might want to. You may have had this vendor for almost a month and just never came around to setting up the account until you received the bill. So we're going to change this to 12/1/2012. Alright, so again, you're going to want to put the company name. And, if you have a contact there, you're going to want to put their names. Or if it's not a contact name, but you're going to want to put the name of who it's in care of. So for this instance, my company's owner is Debbie Allen. So we're going to put that there, and that's going to show up down below. Alright. And then next you're going to put in the actual address. Alright, and then your contact name is whoever your contact there. For the sake of the argument, we're just going to say it's Debbie Allen. And her phone number is 123-456-7768. Whatever her phone number is, you would put it there. Same thing, we're going to fill out, you'd fill out the fax number. If she has a cell phone, if in fact there's another contact other than Debbie, you can put in their contact information there and their phone number there. An email address, if the email is going to be CC'd anybody. And then you would say on the check, it's not to be showing ABC Inc., but writing services. Again, this information you could get from the actual bill that was remitted to you. If their mailing address is different than their billing address, then you would type that address in here. But for the sake of the tutorial, we're going to copy it because it's exactly the same. Just make sure everything's right. If there's any notes like it's on the first floor or make sure we give it to Debbie, you can put that in here. And let's hit OK. Any additional information, your account number, if you have any categories that you want to put it under, we're going to put it under materials. The type of terms of repayment. So let's just say this vendor says everything is due net 30 days. If you have a credit limit, you put it here. If they have a tax ID number, you would put it here. And if they are an independent consultant or an individual working as their own business, they are eligible for 1099, and you'd want to put that here, so at the end of the year you can create it. But in order to have a 1099, you must make sure that they have a tax ID. Again, you can put in their web address, any discounts if you have any. And then here we're going to have the account pre-filled. If every time that you order something, it's going to hit the same account, you're going to want to find that account in here. This is going to be job materials, so we're going to go ahead and put job materials. You'd hit OK, and it's saying that there's no tax ID. So for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to say they're not eligible for 1099 because it is a corporation. Hit OK. Here you go. Here is your actual vendor. Now, let's say we got a bill in for this vendor. You can do a bill one of 2 ways. Actually, 3 ways. You can go up to the vendor center up here on the toolbar and hit enter bills. You can enter bills from the actual home screen, or you can hit the vendor center and you see the vendor here, you can either right click and scroll down on this menu bar and hit enter bills, or you can go up here and hit new transaction, enter bills. In here you're going to have the vendor name, the date of the actual bill, the reference number. Now normally in good practice I usually make this the invoice number, the amount due on the bill, when is it due. Again, if it's net 30, this should automatically be 30 days out. And down here I usually put a memo of, let's say, invoice 1235, or you can put your account number, anything you want in the memo line, just as if you're writing a regular check. Alright, so here's my pre-filled account number. Account name. And you can go ahead and just list as many accounts as you want to if that $500 covers multiple accounts. Now, if you were ordering inventory type items, you could actually put in here your items. So you would be able to select sprinkler heads. You know, I got one of them at a cost of $500. And this is just popping up saying that we already have a value for it. We don't want to change it. And then you would put the customer's job if you want to job cost it in class code. So you would just basically enter this information in. And the same thing with the expenses. In the memo you could put sprinklers. And we're going to change the amount here because the items and the expenses have to both equal 500. Alright, again, you can job cost this to a customer's job so you know exactly how much you're spending on that job. And if you have more bills to enter, you can hit save and new, and it'll bring you to another bill entry screen, or you can hit save and close. Now let's just say that you're entering in a credit for that vendor. You would select credit, and you would pretty much enter it just like you would an invoice. You would hit, the credit number, the amount of the credit, and again, if you wanted to put the job or notes on the account, you'd put that down here. Okay, so as you see, we do have a bill here for this for this vendor, and we want to pay that bill. Now you can do that by either hitting pay bills from the screen, by going to new transaction, pay bills, or you can do that from hitting the vendor and going down to pay bills, or again, you can go to the home page and hit pay bills, or you can go to vendors and pay bills. There's multiple ways you can do it. For the sake of this tutorial, let's hit pay bills from the home screen. Now here's all of our vendors and here's all of the bills that we have. Now, you see here ABC Inc. It's due on 1/14/2016. So we need to go, that's the bill that we want to pay. So let's go ahead and select that bill. Alright, now if you don't remember what the bill looks like, you can select go to bill, and it'll take you straight to the bill that you created. If there's a discount of any type, you would hit set discount, and it would automatically discount this bill. The same thing for credits. If there's any credits that were used, you can go ahead and use them by hitting set credits, and you'll see that here, and it'll deduct it from the amount that you're going to pay. Now, down here you're going to go to the payment date. You're going to go to the type of method you're going to pay it, and we're going to pay it by check. And we're going to print this check out of QuickBooks, select which account you want it to go out of. We're going to say out of the checking account, and we're going to hit Pay Selected Bills. Now you'll just see a summary of exactly what you just did. And you can either select to pay more bills, or you can say you're done, or you can go ahead and print checks. Here's all the checks that you're going to print from this checking account. Again, if it's not out of this account, then you can select which account you want to go ahead and pay stuff out of. But for the sake of this, it's this checking account. And as you see, I have many of them created. So you're just going to want to find the vendor that you have. So you're going to want to find the vendor that you have. And again, ours is at the bottom of the list because ours was one of the last ones created. So go ahead and select that. Make sure this check number up here that you're going to print out matches the check number that you're going to print. And then hit OK. It's going to tell you what printers you have set. Just select whichever printer works for you. And then you would hit print. And if you have a check already by that check number, it's going to let you know. And you can either opt to keep that check number, you can cancel it, you can go back into your bank register and change it. I'm going to say keep check number. If it does not print out correctly, you can select it here. And you'll just go back through the same screens over and over again until it does print out correctly. Now another way to print checks is to go in here, File, Print Forms, and then you're going to hit Checks. Again, it'll take you back to the checklist. And you can organize this. You can say you want to select none, or you want to select all. It's up to you. Again, we're going to select ours. Hit OK. Make sure our printer is selected OK. And we're going to hit print. Again, we have another check number by that number. So that's why you want to make sure that your check number is accurate, because it will let you know. And I mean, you maybe had a checkbook from years ago that had the same check number and you're using that check number again. That's fine. But this is just a reminder that QuickBooks gives you. And ours printed out fine, so we're going to hit OK. Now, if you go into your check register, you will notice here that this is the vendor that we paid. And here's our memo line, the amount that we paid. If you double click on it, you'll actually be able to see the check. And here is the writing services or the remit to name that they asked us to make sure the check was payable to. And if you need to reprint this, you can always select to be printed again and hit OK and go through the File, Print Forms, Print Check, and hit Save and Close. Now, do you want to save the changes? Yeah, we want to save the changes. Now, if for any reason you need to go through and hit and get a bill payment stub, you can hit Bill Payment Stub, select which method you paid, the account it came out of, and you can select the dates that you wrote the check. And sometimes you might need this to prove payment to another vendor because they didn't get the check. So you would go ahead and hit the vendor that you paid by checking it, hit OK, select your printer, and you can preview it. And this is what the bill pay stub would look like. Basically, the name of the company, who it's from, the date, the bill, the reference number. And again, this is why I said it's good to use the actual invoice number here. The original amount, the balance, everything will be shown up on here. It'll show the check number and the check date of when it was issued. Okay, and you can print that out. And you're done. Paying the vendors is done. Thank you for your time, and hopefully this tutorial helped you better understand how to set up a vendor, how to enter their bills, and how to get them paid. For more tutorials like this, go ahead and visit us on YouTube. And if you want more information about us as a company, you can feel free to visit us on our website, www.equalityfinancialservices.com, or send in some ideas on some instructional videos that you would like to Equality Financial